So hi guys, so continuing from where we stopped earlier. So we made our screen. So we've designed the add node screen and the um, view node screen. So yeah, so next let's I think we forgot to do some things in the cycle of the adapter. So let's bind the data to the views itself. So I'll be creating a view val nodes title equals to okay item view dot find view by id. So this will be a step view, right? So the id will be r dot id dot node title. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to copy this, Ctrl C, paste this down here. Yeah, note description. Okay, so cool. So this will be a text view too, but the id will be notes description. Yeah. So the next thing we bind the view. So no title should be equals to okay, but sorry, dot text okay equals to item dot title, right? So note description dot text equals to item dot description. Yep. So yeah, we have that for now. So yeah, this should be fine. This should work fine now and everything. Yeah. So next thing we have to do is okay. I think we did some stuff here. So let's give our recycler view an ID. Okay. So ID. Let's call it recycler view. Right. So yeah. So floating action button. So move back to our main activity. So let's initialize our adapters, our layout manager, and our views. So let's do let init here. So private let init var adapter. Let's call note adapter. Yep. So same thing, private let init var next thing be linear layout manager. Yeah. So private let init var next thing will be okay. Yeah, our repository. So no, for now, I won't do that. So let's just keep that for now. So I'll talk about that later on. So let's create a method called inits. So we can have cleaner version of this code. So private fun init. Okay. So let's initialize all our stuffs here. So the note adapter should be equals to note adapter, right? The linear layout manager will be equals to linear layout manager. Pass the context. So this is the context. Yeah. So the next thing we have to do is pass the adapter and the layout manager into our recycler view. So to do that, let's create recycler view property. It means by recycler view, recycler view of type recycler view. Fine. So next, let's just initialize this recycler view. So recycler view should be equals to find view by id r dot id dot yeah. So recycler view is our recycler view. So we also have floating action button. So let's initialize that. So let's private let me var floating action button. Okay, let's just call it something different. Let's say add notes button. Okay, floating action button. Okay, fine. So with this now we can initialize this to add node button equals to find view by id r.id dot floating action button. Yeah, so yeah, that's cool. So yeah, we initialize our recycler view, our add button. So that's pretty much the UI for the main activity. So the next thing we want to do is just to like bind our adapter to the recycler view. So we'll do that by saying recycler view dot adapter equals to note adapter. Yeah, so the layout manager too, recycler view dot layout manager equals to linear layout manager. Yeah, sorry, that's not it. Linear layout manager. So we've created it already. So this is our adapter, this is our layout manager. So after this, the next thing we have to do is write our code to get the data from the database. So don't forget you have to call your method here. So init. So call the method here. Fine. So yeah, so this is like very clean and it's nice. So the next thing is, so let's go back here. So this db food package, now create a new class. So this class handles our database operation. So we'll call our database methods from this class. So we'll call it a repository. So we'll just create a new Kotlin file. So we'll call it notes repository. So this is just the basic way of doing it. So the other cleaner ways of doing this, but for now we just like use this. So note repository will take context, yeah. So next we have to initialize our database. So do val db equals to, so our database, remember we said node database as a companion object. So node database, sorry, dot invoke. So this invoke basically creates database for us. So we have to pass the context. So remember we created this method here, the node database. So come to node database. So we created this function here that gives us an instance of the database. Yeah. So that's cool. So we invoke the database. So now we have to write different methods. So for now, let's write a method to get all nodes. Okay. So to get all nodes, this method will be db dot, okay, note down, yes, dot select all nodes. Okay. Yeah. So remember we created a nodes data access object. So call it select all nodes. Yes. Yeah. So there is what we call live data. So live data is like responsible for, like, you can observe a live data. In case there's any change in your database, it just notifies your UI and it's imputes that change into your UI without you doing anything. So to use live data, we have to come here. Instead of it returning the list of no entity normally, we change it to return a list of live data of type. Yes, so we'll do this. Okay, fine. So do this. So you make sure you import it here. So 100x.lifecycle.live data. It's very important to import that. So select all node to return a live data of node entity. So when you insert data into the node, so you don't need to like write extra code to retrieve that data. So it just gives you whatever is there like in the database. So yeah, we'll do that. So we'll come to node repository. Fine. So let's just write this. Let's make sure we write the return type here. So this returns live data of type list of node entity. Okay, so I have to make sure we import this. So on live data, press alt enter. So okay, live data should import automatically. Okay, live data, yeah. Okay, so make sure it's imported here. Yes. Okay, so fine, yeah. So make this a private property, private val db. Okay, so next let's go back to our main activity. So we write private between var here to notes repository. Okay, yeah. So we initialize that to here. Note repository is equals to notes repository. So pass the context, which is this. Okay, so now we have to like listen to data on our live data object. So do this notes repository. So it has a method get all notes. Okay, so we need to get all notes. So we have to observe the data to update our UI. So we call it this live data. It has a method called observe. So we call observe. So observe takes into um properties. It takes in the lifecycle owner, which is the activity. So we say this comma. So and the observer. So observer is like a lambda. So you just put in the curly braces and it gives you the current notes in the database. So we just use a lambda to get the note. So you can also like do notes. Okay, then arrow. Sorry. Okay, yeah, you can do this too. It's fine. So so next we want to impute our notes into our database. So we just have to call note adapter dot submit list. So we are using a like list adapter for a recycler view. So that's the submit list method where you just impute data into your recycler view. So submit list notes, right? So yeah, this like kind of help us to like add new data to our database. So we'll be let's just insert some data manually via code. So I'll do that here. Like, let me just write a function called private form insert data into db. Fine. So yes, okay. So we'll create a note entity object. Okay. Yeah. So we need to give it the title. Title. A is the title. So pass description. I, how are you? So I'm going to impute this into the database. So note entity. So this will show an error because the ID is meant to be auto incrementing. So don't pass the ID. So I have to um, go back to entities, note entity. So this is var ID int. You just give it a default value of 0. So you don't pass the ID here. Okay, so this is fine. So next, yes, okay. So let's go back to our note repository. So we'll come here, click on this. So let's write a code to like insert notes. So we just like fun insert notes. So this will take parameter note entity. Yeah. So right. So when you are running database operations, it kind of runs like it takes time depending on what you are trying to do. So it's very compulsory you run into the background thread. So where Android works, works like a multi-thread. So the your UI and most part of your app, when you just create your app, is always running on the main thread. But when you want to run database operations, it's like recommended you run them on the background thread so that your app will not be freezing. Yeah, so we'll be using Kotlin coroutine. So just follow me on this. So we'll talk about this extensively later, but for now just follow on. So global, so use a global scope. okay, dot launch, right? Okay, so this is a Kotlin scope, so it helps us move things to the background thread. So we have to do with context dispatchers.io. Fine. So dispatcher.io means we want to do Dix operations. So Dix operations, there are the other type of dispatchers. So for now, just follow me on this. For now, follow me on this. Later on, we'll discuss extensively on the Kotlin scope and how it works and everything. So we're using Kotlin to push data to the background thread. So inside the notes, we have to just do db dot note.dao dot insert notes. So pass in your note entity. Yeah, so this is fine. So yeah, after doing this, let's go back to our main activity. So let's just call note repository dot insert note. Okay, then we start our note entity, right? So let's call this method here. So insert data into DB. So I'm going to insert just that one data into the database to pre-populate so you see the outcome. So let's run this and let's see the outcome. So the code is kind of compiling at the moment, so let's just give it some time to do that. It has finished building, so it's launching. Yeah, so as you can see, we've populated this database with this data. So let's go ahead and remove this inserting from remove the method and let's run the app again. So you see the data will always be there as long as we've not deleted this data from the database. So when we run it again, you see that this how are you is there already. So yeah, so that's how it works. So the next video we're looking at inserting it via our form in the add note screen. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.